So I would like to show you this book, which I believe is a must read. Not because you must understand everything he writes or watch every move of the analysis, but because it will give you the understanding you need when you need to watch a chess game or in your own chess games. And what do I mean by that? There are some pawn structures, like the isolated queen pawn, that are happening in many openings, okay? And what do you do with that? You can try to discover it at the board, but it doesn't make any sense, because you would waste a lot of time, and today time control are quite shorter than once. So you have a book, this one, that gives you all the plans for the isolated queen pawn. And you can read it here, okay? There is, for example, for the side that has the isolated king pawn, there is a plan A, kingside attack. Plan B, opening the game by advancing the isolated pawn. Plan C, advancing the isolated pawn, blah, blah, blah. Plan D, developing activity on queenside. Then there is this plans for the side that is fighting against the isolated pawn. Plan A, for the defending side, the simplification of a position. Plan B, for the defending side, etc., etc. Then there is for the card structure, okay? Then for symmetrical pawn structure. And this today is a must, because everyone wants to become a grandmaster, a master. But how are they going to become grandmasters or masters if they don't know the pawn structures? That doesn't make any sense, right? So I want to show you some games from the chapter on the d5 square in the Sicilian, because the names are very, very important in those things. And I also would like to show you some games in the isolated queen pawn, because unfortunately it happened to me. The isolated queen pawn, and I didn't deal with it correctly. While, for example, the minority attack, I have a better score. So let me pause the video and start. Okay, the game that I want to show you is game 6 from the chapter Typical Structures in the Middle Game, the Isolated Queen's Pawn. This is relative to plan A, the side with the isolated queen's pawn. Make this plan that is the king side attack. Okay, so you can understand how this manual is fundamental for your development as chess player. So game 6 is played between Nils Grandelius, 2653, and Anna Zatonsky, 24-24. It was played in 2017. Grandelius clearly a grandmaster. Anna Zatonsky, from the rating, I think she's an international master. Maybe she could be a grandmaster and lost some rating, I don't know. E4, E5, knight F3, knight F6. So this is the Russian defense, or Petrov, because today we are not allowed to mention Russia. Knight takes E5, D6, knight F3, knight takes E4, D4, D5, bishop D3, knight C6, and castle. One thing I want to tell you of this book is that the analysis in the games are very detailed. They are computer checked, so everything is correct, and so these are also the best examples you can have if you don't want to have a coach, but a coach can cost you like $100 an hour. This book, maybe, I don't know, it's $30. I don't remember the prices, because I generally try to find books that are cheap, because they can be second hand. I found a lot of stuff that it's really cheap. Like I pay, I don't know, just to Okay, I cannot show you one, but I can show you this one. This one, I got it for like $6.95. So you can really, if you look around, you can find books that are really, really cheap, and they will teach you a lot, okay? Or at least you will enjoy a little chess or understand better. So bishop g4, and here of course he gives some statistics and what it's used today, but I don't care. I just want to see the game for the isolated queen pawn and learn from it, okay? c4, knight f6, obviously this was going to fall down, knight c3, bishop e7, c takes d5, knight takes d5, h3, bishop e6, rook e1, castle, and here there is a diagram, okay? Now, and this is also why we want to buy a book like this one, right? Because it's not only about the isolated queen pawn. He shows this move. Here there is a diagram, and show this move, pawn a3. Now, why do you think white played this move? You could say, because he doesn't want the knight here or the bishop there. Yes, correct. But why? Because he wants to create a battery that is made by this bishop on c2, queen on d3, to try to give checkmate here. And the fourth thing is to prevent that the battery can be disrupted, right? So, as you can see, you learn from the book just going fast also, but watching the comments that are without many variants, and that is a way to learn. Then maybe if you like to deepen, or if you have some questions about some moves, you can actually consult all the analysis that they offer as put. Rook e8, bishop c2, we see that he's doing that. And he says, it is interesting that even with a black pawn on h7, white compensation for the exchange sacrifice on e6 would be sufficient, but no more than that. That's interesting. It shows that practically he could have played also queen c2 and then sacrifice the rook on this. Okay, black played h6, and he says this is a serious error which loses by force. Can you imagine? I mean, you see this move in a game, and the guy tell you this is a serious error that lose the game. Come on, it's impossible. How would I know that, right? Let's see what he does. Queen d3, also because Anna Zatonsky, I think she is a US women champion. She has played in US state many times, and of course she's a professional player, so I don't know, strange, no? Because this is a move 14. We are not speaking, deep in the middle game. This should be something she knows, especially if she plays this opening often. I don't understand. Let's see, knight f6. And here it says, put a diagram and says, the following two thematic sacrifice destroy the black position. Wow. So, pause the video and try to find what white is gonna sacrifice and destroy the black position with, because this is definitely a good exercise if you take it seriously. Okay, let's see what he did. Bishop takes h6, boom. G takes h6. Notice that the author put also this thing. He says also if black played this, is still hopeless. He says, okay, and there is the analysis. So it's not, you don't have to believe me. So G takes h6, and now pause again the video. It's something that I told you a little before, but maybe you have to find it out for yourself. It's kind of logical, however. What do I mean? I mean that he sacrificed this to open the position. He wants to enter inside here, but how do you enter if you have this thing here, this ooh, 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 ooh. You can't, right? So what is the next move? The next move is another sacrifice. Boom. And you see, this is the difference. The author knows if that sacrifice is right or not. The player, I don't know, because I think he had to find it in the game. Or was it part of his own homework preparation? That's a kind of interesting question that we should ask to Grandmaster Nils Grandilius, because that is kind of interesting, right? Notice that Black doesn't play f takes c6. Do you know what he plays? Black plays queen d7. Oh my god. Rook a e1. Now finally takes. And of course, boom, white enters. King f8. Queen takes h6. King g8. And obviously you need at least another piece to, because here there are some pieces that are defending. Notice that also this is kind of defending. So the queen d7 has a function that is not only this, to protect this, but also to try to protect the 7th rank, okay? So that's the interesting part. So white continue with knight e5, but like always, the computer tells us that he could have played queen g6, king h8, knight g5, rook f8, queen h6, and blah blah blah. So this was another possibility. So knight e5, let's see. Knight takes e5, d takes e5, bishop f8, attacking the queen, queen takes f6, bishop g7, queen g6, queen d2, attacking this, but this is protected luckily. So king, rook e3, rook e7, knight e4. Notice that now it's black to have an isolated pawn, so it's kind of funny. Queen c1, king h2, queen takes b2, knight f6, king f8, knight d7, rook. So the knight d7 is to obviously open the line for the rook, okay? Rook takes d7 and rook f3, and at this point Anna Zatowski resign. Why did she resign, you say? Well, the problem is this is keeping these two square. Maybe he's not able to really escape, because if he does this, check, and also when he does this, checkmate, right? So that's a possibility, but probably also this is checkmate. So that's the reason she resigned. And as you can see, the example in the games are from different historical periods, because the game 7 is Botvinnik versus Tolush, and it was played in 1965. There are a lot of interesting examples. One of the games is, I think, a very famous game played by Boris Spassky against Avtonomov in Leningrad 1949, is the plan B, opening the game by advancing the isolated pawn. And you tell me, why is famous that game? Because if I remember well, yes I do, is the fourth game that you find in the book, the 100 best games by Boris Zlotnik. And this is the fourth game in that collection. So it's maybe worth to watch it again just for you guys so you can memorize it, or you can see other games also which are more recent, right? And that would be the plan B. So I think it would be worth it to at least watch one game for the plan B. There is, for example, this game. Let's see if it's a quick game. Yes, it is, by Tigran Petrosian against Yuri Balashov, that I will put in the next video.